Hi everyone, hope you had an amazing 2022. I'm making this video today just because I haven't posted any updates since a long time on either YouTube or Instagram. Sometimes you see some pictures, but still you're missing all the context. So let's just recap what's the situation. Personally, I'll try to focus on more positive things and my personal achievement. I know there's many crazy things that happen in the world, negatively and positively, but today I really want to focus on my things that are positive and also maybe give you a little update of what's going on in my life. So let's start with what didn't change. So I'm still working at Essence as a mobile software developer. I still live in Port Montreal and I love it. That's pretty much it. That didn't change for those that didn't know or don't know me yet. Talking about the fact that I'm still a mobile developer, there was a change where I work and I had to learn a new thing called React Native. Now Essence app is available on both platforms. So this framework allows us to have a cross-platform app while using the same code. I was a bit sad at the beginning because I'm mainly an iOS developer. I love to code in Swift, and I would have liked to have a transition to Swift UI. I also released my first app on the App Store, so personal under my name. It's a little game. At the beginning, it was just like a proof of concept or a POC, and I showed it to friends, and I was starting to add features and stuff that are not already well known in the industry. So my friends and family told me you should just publish it, and now it's done. It's called Nezi. It's also available on my profile. If you go click on the link, you should be redirected to the App Store. If you see me in the street or something, you can also ask me and I'll give you the app clip for free to try it. That's on the technical side. Other than that, as you know, I'm also passionate by fashion. That's why I chose a technology company where fashion is also super important. And I think in the world, it's still the case where fashion and technology are the most impactful things nowadays. And our environment is also something really important. So for both industries, there's a huge impact and importance. But this year, instead of buying like pants and t-shirts and hoodies and stuff like that, I focused more in accessorizing. So if I just go back to last year, I was preparing to travel again. Since 2020, I was not able to travel because of pandemic. So I bought a lot of bags last year to just prepare to do some road trip and go on vacation again. And yeah, I forgot to say, but I think for me, 2022 was a year of deliverance. To come back this year, I've been collecting accessories, more like hats or stuff like that, where it's smaller but makes a huge impact on the outfit. So like now you can see I have a Benny, which is Burberry, but I also bought some Sakai hats. I wore a lot in one of my trips this year, got a lot of compliment, and was different. And when people like first saw that on the picture while I was showing before purchasing, they were like, oh no, I'm not sure, it looks weird, blah, blah, blah. And it's often like that. But I had this vision in my head where it would look good in a certain way, certain outfit, and it worked out really well. So I think I purchased maybe 10 different kind of hats this year. So it was really more my focus this year to accessorize my outfit with things like hats. Yeah, so I was saying that I released my first app on the App Store, but I have like a team, and it's like a memory skill game with 4 colors. And I was still a bit in sneakers, and there's this thing called Nike by You, which allows you to design your own sneakers. And one of the biggest sneaker of this year, well, last year and this year, was the Nike Dunks, and it was available to Nike by You. So I designed one that was representing my game. I kind of slowed down to purchase sneakers this year. I bought some of them. I'll talk about it later on, but I moved on to something else. I was super proud in the fact that I was able to bring my dad to Montreal Canadian game, which is, I think, a personal accomplishment because my dad was super into hockey and coaching and stuff like that. So to me, it was meaningful to bring him to a game. And I think that at the beginning of the year, the price of tickets were also a lot cheaper. So I was able to just decide to purchase a ticket out of Ticketmaster for like $30. Price were really good. So I think I went to like 4 or 5 games just like that because the price was so cheap, and I could just go walk since it's like really, really close to my place. If you come back a little bit to Essence, I'll try to not focus too much on my work, but I celebrated my 3rd year at Essence, so I've been working there for 3 years, almost now 4 years, I can say, because I was interning and now full time since 2020. So a big journey over there. I'm kind of proud of that, and we accomplished some amazing things. In 2022, I looked at my year on Instagram and like archive and stuff like that, and I said at the beginning of the year was really slow, not much happening, and then there was a time where everything changed. So I think it was around May or something like that. I got an email from Apple saying that I was invited to WWDC in Apple Park in California. And for those who don't know, Apple Park is this crazy spaceship building for Apple in California. So that was kind of a dream of mine, and that kind of what started me or influenced me at the time, like a long time ago, when I was a kid, to go into tech. That's kind of what triggered everything at the time. So to be invited to this event in the context and the fact that I have many years now of experience in mobile development, that was like just perfect. It was an amazing experience. And then I also took the opportunity to just spend time around California, because it was about to be also the first time I go in California, which is kind of crazy thinking about that now, since all tech and all fashion things are located more in California. I spent a week there. I went to Yosemite as well, which is like beautiful. I went also to visit Stanford. It's like my favorite university now, design-wise, and the campus is simply amazing. I'll say part of my journey over there, I went and passed by the Steve Jobs garage where Apple was kind of started. I took a picture over there. I also spent a day and a half in San Francisco, and I really, really enjoyed my stay over there. I met some amazing people. It was like kind of a dream come true, and to me, this is the highlight of the year. It's such a big impact in all my life now, and like being a mobile developer, specifically for iOS, it's kind of amazing thinking about that. Other than that, just before going to California, I also had a nice trip with one of my friends, Matt. We went to Quebec City just by car for a weekend. We went to the Montmorency Falls, which was good, really good. If you're in Quebec and you never went to that, I think you should go. And there's also just aside some amazing house where I was like kind of inspired and was like, okay, this is where my future cottage is. But that was just like for motivation. I forgot to mention another thing. So like I told you, I started to work on this React Native app this year and learning about React and React Native this year. While I was learning about that and also introducing it to other people joining the team, I wrote one article with two parts about building bridges, which is something really specific to React Native and technical. So I'll not go too far into that, but using Swift. So what's cool is that like for an iOS developer, you can use still Swift and have to know about it to like add some feature or some SDKs. Yeah, it was good. I wrote two articles about that. I also had the chance to present at an event called Innovation Day at Essence, which was like the first edition or the second one, but the first official one. The subject I was presenting was the future of mobile. So that was based on my experience at WWDC this year at Apple Park, and also the previous year, which I watched online. So for I think 10 years, I watched it online, and that was the first year in person. So I took the last 4 years and did the parallel with what we could do at Essence and how we could innovate. Because I think the whole industry is always a bit late by 2 to 5 years before you can see the new things introduced by like the tools or the new feature that you can add to your app with what Apple provides or other company. So it was really amazing. I think people enjoyed it, and some people asked me to record it. Other than that, that's a kind of funny. So I graduated a bachelor in computer science at Sherbrooke University in 2019, end of 2019. But because of COVID and all that, we never had this end of bachelor ceremony. So I had this ceremony this year. Another thing, I told you this year was the first time I went to California. I had the chance to go a second time. But this time was not for my career or technology thing. It was more for a personal thing, which is called a Complex Con, which is something I would have liked to attend like years ago. I think I was looking at tickets for the last 3 years, but because of pandemic and like everything that was going on in the world was not possible or too risky. So this year I decided to go to ComplexCon in Long Beach together with my friend Matt again. and it was a really, really good time. I took vacation, so for a week between Long Beach and Los Angeles. First time in Los Angeles this time, so and a lot different from San Francisco and Cupertino and the place I went earlier this year. So ComplexCon, amazing experience. I had the chance to meet some really amazing people I was looking just on TV or some shows in the past. So one of them, Futura, a really good artist, I think from Brooklyn or New York. I think one of my Grail pair of shoes is a Don called For Love or Money. This was a collab with Futura, and I think that's like one of my all-time Grail, and I'll probably never get it. It was kind of sad to see that he's got old and he looks a bit sick, but at the same time, it was amazing to see him alive and being able to talk about what he's done and just talk with him. He gave me a signature in my book and did this like little art design in my book. So it was good to see that he spent that time with me. It was great. Other than that, I was able to see some other really amazing personality like Joe LaPuma, for example. I'm watching his show, Sneaker Shopping, every single Monday. So it was just good to see him for the first time in person. There was other sneaker personality, unreal, like DJ Clark Kent and people from a Sneaker Podcast. Just to see them in person was sick. And I really enjoyed all the talk they gave. Specifically, like the sneaker shopping one was kind of interesting because like a lot of people were agreeing, disagreeing. It was just super entertaining to see this panel. I really enjoyed it. There was also a show at the end of the event, which was also super interesting. But I like the fact that Nigo used this team of Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. That was worth it to go to ComplexCon at least one time in my life. And Long Beach, I can talk also a bit about Long Beach because I spent 2-3 days over there. The Long Beach, it's super amazing to walk there. I see myself just have a place there and just like doing my jogging or walking every single day right in front of the water. It's a really nice place. And the convention center was just aside as well, which is also super cool. I might go again in the future. While I was over there, I went to Santa Monica, which is like roller coaster park, and it was pretty similar to Santa Cruz, which I went when it was the Apple event earlier this year, but a bit smaller. So Santa Monica is smaller than Santa Cruz, but still was cool to see that. It's in a cool area. There's a lot of restaurants not too far from it, and we went that night. It was really cool. I think it was a drive of like maybe 30 minutes from Long Beach, if I'm not wrong. We spent some time in LA, Fairfax and Melrose. According to people who work there, it's not like it used to be. And it really felt like it because like I was watching videos for years on that street, on those streets, and like looking at those stores which have like those really rare things that you don't see elsewhere. And that was still the case. I was able to see those rare things that didn't feel like as special as I thought. So just to see it online the first time, like see videos on YouTube a couple years ago, felt more special than being there, which was kind of a bit disappointed. I think it's also because those businesses are also still recovering from what happened during COVID time, people not being able to go to the store. It's also super expensive in California, so if business is shut down for a couple of months, it just makes the economy and like those stores in some situation that is really hard. So also many stores were closed on Fairfax and Melrose. It was a bit disappointing, but I was happy to go in those stores and see some shoes that were not released. For example, also some Nike Louis Vuitton that you don't get to see a lot here and people don't even wear because it's just not making sense, but still was cool to see them in person. Other than that, while I was in LA, I went to this, it's like an historical monument. Now it's called the Apple Tower in LA. It's like an Apple store. It used to be, I think, one of the first movie theater with sound in Los Angeles. So it's more about the architecture in the store, out of the store, in the store that was preserved, and the way they kind of incorporated this, like they added the Apple store, but they still maintained the old architecture, and it, like this building is just simply amazing. So to me, it was cool to go Apple Tower. I recommend if you pass by this area. Didn't purchase anything, mainly just to see the building. Of course, I was in LA and I wish I could have spent more time on that area. So we went on Rodeo Drive where all those designer stores are, but we went like, I think 1 hour before the store closed, and some of them were already closed. I think I would have liked to spend more time, but where it's different from other area like this, like Rockdale in Toronto, where there is kind of similar. The only difference I would say is that in LA, the budget is a lot higher. Of course, then the stores are bigger. In the store, you'll see more amazing things that you don't get to see normally, like baby foot table from Louis Vuitton or Amery pool table. That's not the kind of things we see here in the stores. They have it just on the floor like that in LA. So you can see these products that are sold for like almost 100,000 Canadian dollars just on the floor like that. It's just something we see here in Canada, and even elsewhere in US, I didn't see that. So I think that's where these stores are kind of amazing. You can see things that you don't get to see often just by looking at the decorations and statue in the store. I said this, in the Louis Vuitton, there was like a statue that was high, like 2 floors. That's really impressive. And I think that's what differentiate them more than elsewhere. It was great. I'm pretty sure they also have like more exclusive stuff because they're probably selling more than other location in the world. If I go back in LA, that's definitely a place where I want to go spend at least a day and plan it better. But this time, what's good is that it didn't cost me a lot to go on that street. On my last day in LA, we went to Hollywood, so I walked in Walk of Fame where there's all these stars. I was able to see stars from Quebec, like Celine Dion, also like US artists that I love. It was great to just walk there. The only thing is that I started to feel sick, so I didn't enjoy it as much as I would like. Another thing is that it's really for couple street that it's amazing. The other street really felt like super poor, and that's a thing in LA where what I dislike is the fact that you walk for a couple streets and like it's super poor and the next couple corners is super rich, and then it just alternates like that all the time. And it felt like there was no middle between the rich and poor over there. That felt kind of bad. There's just this area of the Walk of Fame which is okay, but if you go too much to the left or too much to the right, you'll see that the area is really, really poor. Because I was also feeling super sick on that day, I was not able to walk to the Hollywood sign. My friend did it, and I wish I could, but apparently I had a brunch hit that I didn't know at the time, but I was sick because I did those quick tests. There was no COVID, there was nothing, so I felt like it was maybe just something not bad. And it's really when I got back here in Quebec that I felt really bad for like 2 weeks. So I had a really good trip. Anyway, let's get back to my year. So my year was more focused on trip, being able to travel again. So I went to California twice. Dream came true. I think that's really the highlights of my year. I forgot to mention also the products I got. I got a lot less product this year because it was less important to me, and also like it was more about the experience and being with my family and stuff like that. I know a lot of people here on this account that you like the fact that I collect a lot of shoes. So this year I didn't get my shoe like I said earlier, but I got some blazers. I got some acronym blazer, 2 colorways if I'm not wrong. I also got some Sakai blazer low in different colorways. They released some other colorway this year, and one of them is like a blue color, which is a pair I wore in ComplexCon because to me it was one of my highlights this year. More recently, I got some Ambush Air Force One. There's one that like have the Sonic colors and one that is like a green color, and I really loved it, and I was surprised to see that they were still available on their website. I purchased the 2 colorway, and I think those are my shoe of the year, to be honest. One of the reasons why I was not too much into shoes this year is that I was not the most trendy shoe right now. I think is for sneakerhead or New Balance, and I'm not into it. I'm not into runner much, but there was one that kind of connected with me. As you know, I'm a big Apple fan. I'm a iOS developer, super big fan of Apple, of course. So I got some Steve Jobs New Balance, which are like just a gray New Balance. I think it's a 991 or 992. I'm not even sure about that. And I used it also for a costume. So like I said earlier, I did a presentation on the future of mobile during Essence Innovation Day. Like because it was the future of mobile and it was more Apple focused, I was like, okay, let's dress like Steve Jobs. So I got some blue jeans, I got kind of a black turtleneck, and these gray shoes, which was the everyday outfit from Steve Jobs. But I kind of adapted it to my style. So I wore my famous Sakai hat. The crew neck was a Stone Island crew neck, which is still, I think, one of my favorite brands ever. So I kind of adapted it in a fashion way by keeping the theme. So it was kind of cool. So shoe-wise, I think that's pretty much it. If I go to electronics, as you know, I released an app earlier this year. I also learned a bit about 3D modeling. You need a really powerful computer to do these things fluently, I'll say. I don't necessarily need it to do it, but the experience is better when you have a super powerful computer. So I got an M1 Pro Max Mac, a personal one. I just finished to pay it because you had now the option to pay it for a year, and I think it was like something like 400 or 500 a month for 12 months, which is kind of crazy when you think about that nowadays. I skipped for the first time last year on the iPhone 13, so this year I updated my phone for an iPhone 14 Pro Max. At the beginning, I was not convinced by the new Apple Watch Ultra, but I really fell in love with the larger screen, like longer battery that I think is good for 3 days without charging. So to me was good one. So I got that also around my birthday. So electronic wise, I think that's pretty much it, which is, I think that's a lot. Clothing wise, like I said, 2022 was not big, but still got some piece to highlight. So earlier this year, I got a brand called Too Good, a cape coat from Too Good, like super chic coat. I got many hats, so Sakai hats. I think one like kind of khaki, one that is kind of beige. In LA, I got this cap from a local artist that did all the things by hand, LA buildings on it, which is kind of like unique. I got also this cap from Union LA, which is like a U with an angel over it, for Los Angeles, so I really liked it. For my birthday, I got this Louis Vuitton cap, which is I think one of the last design from Virgil Abloh in Louis Vuitton. So I don't think I said it earlier, but for my 3 years at Essence, I purchased myself some Louis Vuitton straws, just because like I'm also still loving ice caps, so straws was like kind of meaningful. I also got this bag from Côté Ciel, which is like a techwear kind of bag where I can put my computers, my phones and stuff. And I got some like a lot of compliment about it. And on the Apple campus, people were like, oh shit, that's cool. And it's super practical. You have like this compartment, which is like a bag for travel, like a duffel bag kind of thing. The interior is super useful where you can put like 2 computers, 4 phones and like batteries and wires and stuff. So super practical bag for tech people. My go-to bag. Got this Burberry hat, just like a beige beanie, which is wearable with pretty much everything, right? Yeah, I got this. And this story is kind of interesting. This is a hoodie from Balenciaga, but I don't want to get into everything. I know it's not right, but let's focus on the design and like what this design means to me, okay? It says be different. You might have seen something really similar in the past. It says be different, but it comes from the famous quote from Apple that says think different, and the font is exactly the same, okay? And there was rumors where it was supposed to be an official collab with Apple, but it ended up not being it. And that's why on the runway it was like an apple over here with this round circle with the B in it. But the one that is they sell more, I think they still sell the one with the apple, not really sure, but they sell this one in black. And here instead of the apple, it's like 2B from Balenciaga, but I still feel like it looks a bit like an apple, and with the font and the B difference just means something to me. It's just I feel like this hoodie was done for me. And also on the runway, the invite they were giving to people were actually old iPhone. And in the back, there was the information on when and where the runway would happen. And so that was kind of sick. At the end, it was not a collab, an official collab with Apple. And I think the reason, and it's the rumors, okay? But it's apparently because at the time, Kanye West was still working a lot with Balenciaga. He had some trouble with Apple Music and like some disagreement. Some people say that like might have caused the collab to not happen, which would have been just crazy, but you know, and Kanye did some. But let's focus on positive. Oh yeah, I also ordered the black t-shirt, but it's still processing, so I'm not sure I'll get it. But like the black one with the embroidery here in white, because by the way, this is embroidery, it's not just printed. The last item I got, clothing wise, is a Burberry long coat, classic khaki from Burberry, and the interior is kind of cool also. I plan to wear it with this. I have like this idea in my head, and again, that's something I showed to friends and family. They were like, what? Really? And this one is kind of it's a risk because it's a really big piece that like it's not just a hat. So I don't know, but it's kind of interesting, and I think I have the vision for it. It's a nice coat, and I was just kind of bored to wear the same goddamn coat for every single day during winter. So I want to have a couple options. Other than that, yeah, that's another thing. Here in Canada, and even in the US, close to my place, there's no Goyard store. And so this year, while I was in San Francisco, I just passed by the store and got my first piece of Goyard. Of course, I still watch a tons of movies and series on all those platforms. Yeah, and I'm looking forward for what's coming also next year. I've been watching mostly like all the Marvel's things that released. Some series were good, some series felt like a bit lazy compared to everything else Marvel did. Amazing Finals also they did in the most recent years. That's pretty much what was my 2022. I feel like I maybe skipped a couple things. Yeah, I skipped one really important things actually. So I was less into social media or posting a lot less this year, and this is for a good reason. I felt super important to spend more time with my friends and family, mostly my family. This year we did a really, really interesting acquisition, which is like a cottage in the east of Quebec, and just spend good time with my family. And even like for celebration this year, we have spent some good time over there, and I feel like it's going to be a new tradition is that, I don't know if it's a word in English though. Anyway, something that will be recurrent year after year. And also like I think one of the other things that is super important is that like since I'm in technology, there's some amazing opportunity in technology everywhere in the world, and I've got some crazy offer, and especially in California, which are really, 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 really interesting. But to me, it felt more important to be close to my family, being able to see them more often while everyone is healthy and everything. That was decision this year to spend more time with my family. This cottage just makes it easier for everybody. We can do some amazing activity, walking, going in the water, and get some good kayaking also for next year. So yeah, really looking forward. I think that's about it for my year. Last thing before I end up this video is I got this book, which is like the Louis Vuitton Virgil Abloh by Asseline book. Amazing book. I started it. Some amazing image, people talking about Virgil and his work, and how it was not considered as a designer at the beginning, or considered as a certain artist, but not necessarily what he wanted to show the world, and also like his value and everything. So it's really interesting world. I'm looking forward to share also some of my thought once I'm done with it. So I think I looked at 15 pages. I got it yesterday, by the way. So now what I can hope for 2023 is I don't really know, or I don't really want to share yet. There's some amazing things that might happen early in 2023 or later in 2023, here or elsewhere. We'll see. I'll keep you updated. I don't think I'll increase the amount of post or communication on my social platforms. I want to spend still a lot of time with my friends and family, and I have a lot of things also to do. So that will not be my top priority for sure. Thank you for watching this. If you're still on the video, it means that you're interested, and I just want to wish you all an amazing 2023.